Chapter 1: The Deconstruction Process. One lost boy. Ben was 3 weeks overdue. He didn't want to be born. I believe he knew this life would be difficult, and he put it off until the last moment. He was in crisis. No heartbeat, then a faint one, then an emergency C-section. He was blue. I was frantic. His father fainted, and Ben was rushed to the NICU. Maybe Ben knew how much we loved him. Maybe he knew he had a big purpose in life. In any case, he lived. 16 years later. Ben wanted to play football his freshman year in high school. The physical showed something was wrong with his spine. He was diagnosed with a condition resembling a hunchback, which got worse every year. He was nicknamed Quasimodo by his friends. In his senior year, Ben ended up having a 12-hour surgery to insert 2 17-inch rods in his spine. He missed most of the school year and had to graduate from an alternative high school. He also had hammer toes that had to be straightened with rods. It was an experimental procedure that failed, and when the rods came out, he ended up with jointless, floppy toes. It could be that he had a mild case of Marfan syndrome, a genetic disorder affecting the connective tissue, often resulting in joint and spine issues and heart defects. Indeed, his autopsy showed an enlarged heart consistent with the rest of his symptoms. He railed against me and his father, saying he was a freak of nature and should never have been born. Even dating was difficult for him. He believed he was deformed and was self-conscious about the long scar on his spine and his floppy toes. We tried so many things to minimize that scar, even an expensive and painful laser process. Trying to reason with him that he now had a straight back led to more angry exchanges. He refused to take his shirt off in public or wear sandals. What I only dimly realized was that the scar was not only on his back, but it was also on his soul. The rods in his back kept him from joining the military, something he dearly wanted, which was very traumatic for him. His father and I were both in the military, as were his paternal grandparents and my father. He believed everyone but him would be buried in Arlington, and he was wild with disappointment and frustration, wishing he had never been born. He was filled with rage and refused to consider any other options than those denied him. He was out of control, and I was powerless to help him. He began drinking heavily when he found out about his spine at age 16. Beer seemed to flow freely in our neighborhood, with older siblings and friends buying for younger teens. I dreaded the nights and spent years worrying instead of sleeping. When he was in his late teens and early 20s, there were parties in our house. Kids snuck in the back door to the basement and brought in alcohol. Night after night, I fell asleep early because I had to get up early and awakened to partying teenagers and the smell of cigarette smoke. I would go down and chase the kids out of the house and face all the anger, me against them, and them against me. I was paralyzed with fear and shame and lack of sleep. I did not want this to take place in my home, but felt powerless to make it stop. It was better to have him at home, right? Better to chase them all off in the middle of the night than have Ben go who knows where, right? He was often drunk and belligerent, but I knew he was in pain, and he knew that I knew. Sometimes he would break down and cry and ask, "Why me? What did I do to deserve this?" His father recommended kicking Ben out. He recommended tough love and letting Ben hit rock bottom as a supposed cure for bad behavior, but I couldn't do it. Underneath all Ben's behaviors was a lot of pain and fear and insecurity. I could find that soft part of him, and we connected there most of the time. And he knew I would never abandon him, no matter what. He was my son, and I chose him over everything, including my marriage. And I believed that someday, some way, he would find his way, and I would be there supporting and encouraging him.